we move on to the last part of our today's program, and that is going to be where we will be getting now special program, and that would be wellness, where we are going to talk about Kal, Aaj or Kal. That's the journey we are going to take on. And since morning, what we started, since morning, what we have taken on, we have come to the final finale of today's program. And that is going to be, ladies and gentlemen, all of us together, we will share. And let me roll back to the first slide once again. And we have been joined by one of the guests of the evening, and I think another guest has yet to join. The chair of the evening session, Professor Vivek Shankar Natarajanji from the Houston, from the Lamar University. He has already joined us, and we are waiting now for our keynote speaker, our distinguished guest of the evening, that is Dr. Sahaiba. She would be joining in a little while. So, ladies and gentlemen, with these words, let me just extend a warm welcome, Professor Vivek Shankar Natarajanji. A pleasure to have you with us this evening from United States. Thanks for joining. Thank you very much. And indeed, it's a great, great pleasure that you are with us. And we all are going to share lots of vision and a wonderful journey this evening. Few words from Professor Vivek Shankar Natarajanji. Right. I think he might be busy in calling her and to get.
No, no. Yes, Gulshanji. Namaste. Good morning. First of all, good evening to all my friends in Bharat. And let me take this opportunity to say Vande Mataram. We are going to be celebrating our Republic Day in the next 2 days. And those are the days, irrespective of where we are on the planet, all Indians, their heart starts to flutter when we hear the word Vande Mataram and Bharat Mata Ki Jai. So I know this is a COVID time and all that, but I pray to our Bharat Mata that we kind of come out of it safely, and I pray for the success of our Jawans, Jai Jawans, Jai Kisans, all our scientists. They combat the vaccines, and all our healthcare professionals. These are the people who rise above the fray. It's always a great time to reflect on India and India as a civilization in an ancient context, but India as a modern republic. This is a time all Indians should be proud of. And today you mentioned, today is the day of education. So this is something more special to me because I am an educator by profession. So they say, I'll just kind of like to quote one saying that talks about education in the Indian context. In our tradition, Vidya or Vidya Dadati Vinayam. That means Vidya, that means education should make you humble. So I'm very, very humble because I am here not for that I was born great or anything. It is because my parents, my gurus, and more importantly, the citizens of India, because their taxes help me fund. I went to state universities and public universities. So that is where I am. We have to be deeply humble and give back. So I am very grateful to my Major Saab that he gives me a chance to give back through this program. Now, that is one thing. Then the other one is, what is education? Just to reflect on it. By the way, Gulshanji, I had a call from our other panelist. If you can send the link again, it is not working. So she's eagerly waiting. So that's why. Now, Vidya, sa vidya ya vimuktaye. Vidya, education is one that liberates. Liberates means wants. Basically, it means it empowers you to think and act on your own. You become a cognitive person. You're already a cognitive entity. You do cognize the world through the five senses. But what happens is it triggers that sadbuddhi, the faculty of thinking, and it allows you to go on the path. Of course, I'm using the Bharatiya tradition in that. For us, it is we have to be cognizant of what is mukti. At the ultimate, it is moksha. And so that is one of the purusharthas. But the other three purusharthas are important: dharma, artha, and kama. Dharma means sustenance of the world order. Artha means, the mechanism, the wealth. But wealth itself is has no meaning unless you use it, because you could have $1 trillion, but what use is it if it is sitting in a bank? It doesn't have any fact value. And then of course karma, the power of consumption, because if nobody wants to consume anything, there will be no production. So these are the two facts, but everything has to be done in the order of dharma. So this is how our education system was. Of course, we are time and again, our Gulshanji has been talking about the vision of a Macaulay and others. We created a lot of Macaulay Putras, basically what we call as people, they're very good in the English language, but having said that, they've moved more into the mode of, using no, and again, the Western model. By the way, I'm not a person who's not against the Western model. I teach in a Western university. I have done my PhD in a Western context. I get that. Having said that, the main thing was it is important. I mean, like Swami Vivekananda said, we have to learn a lot of material progress, the science, the technology and all, and that is important. I've been always astonished with the way the Western institutions had a lot of freedom of speech and critical thinking. All of that was the hallmark. But now, as I see India, which is one of the most youngest populations in the world, and I see that all of these are, so to say, to quote the late Bharat Ratna, our president, Shri Dr. Abdul Kalam ji, he used to talk about igniting the lights. So that is, I think, we have to think about it. And I will also leave this with another quote. Swami Chinmayananda, again, one of the greatest builders of teachers of Vedanta. We can even call him, a builder of India in a way, because the way he created the awareness about Bhagavad Gita and Vedanta in corners of India, starting from his vision that he had in Himalayas all the way till Kanyakumari. A great Mahaswamiji, Swami Chinmayananda used to say this, that this was about children, and he started all these balvihars about children. Swami Chinmayananda used to say, children are not empty vessels to be filled. Children are like lamps to be lit. So just kind of putting the two together, putting Abdul Kalam ji and putting Chinmayananda ji, I think our younger population, they have everything. They have the greatest brains. They have one of the the most hardest work ethics, smartness, and we are second to none. These are lamps to be lit. And remember, if we light 1 billion lamps, I mean, how bright this planet can be. I mean, this whole India can be seen from the world. I mean, they say that during Diwali you can see it from NASA. I don't know if it's an urban legend or is it really true. I've not validated it. But I think the metaphor is that if we can light all of these people with knowledge, give that knowledge and put them on that path, I think it is going to be a very, very fascinating journey for us. And our journey in terms of educating is partly, of course, they say, Japanese say, if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. So we have to give skills that last for a lifetime. So in other words, of course, but at the same time, we also have to teach people how to get a bread and butter. As Swami Vivekananda said, it is futile to preach Vedanta to a man who's on an empty stomach. I mean, that's one of the greatest things. So we have to empower our youth to get skills that allow them to compete and excel in the job workforce. That is important. But having said that, beyond a point, I mean, even contemporary frameworks that Maslow's hierarchy and all talk about it. There's only so much you can fill. I mean, how many laddus can you eat? And after that, you have to think about the self and all that. So our Vedanta, our tradition is very good. It talks about all the 4 things, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. And I hope in the coming times, our education system will start to incorporate all of these things. And I am in that regard, Shri Gulchanji, he's a lover of 5. He has done more than 500 videos plus, and he's getting more and more. And I'm happy to be a humble soldier because we don't need too many generals. As they say, there is a saying in the US, there are too many generals and too few Indians. I mean, like the few Indians as in too few soldiers. So I think we need more soldiers. We need more Arjunas. We need more Hanumanjis. I was telling the other day, we have a lot of Krishnas and we have a lot of Ramas. We have a lot of generals. I mean, our prime minister is a person who's inspiring the whole world. I've seen his speeches in thing. Our late Abdul Kalam ji is a person who united the whole world. I mean, people loved him. I mean, that is the kind of people we have had. A long days before that, we had Swami Vivekananda, who had the vision to come and to a foreign country and call them brothers and sisters. We come from that tradition. That is the fertile land of India. We'll always produce such people because that is how we are rooted in. The question is, are our kids getting exposed to it? And our education system should celebrate it, not create Macaulay Putras and clerks. And I wish we have more of that. With that, my prayers to Bharat Mata, my prayers to Ma Saraswati. Let me finish with one sutram, one slokam from the Vedas. This is called Vak Suktam. Devim Vachamajanayanta Devaha Tam Vishwarupa Pashavo Vadanti Sano Mandre Shamur Janduhana Dhenurva Gasmanu Pasustutaitu Sumuhurtostu Sumuhurtostu Sumuhurtostu. Let there be a new good dawn of education. Jai Bharat, Bharat Mata ki Jai, Vande Mataram, and may all of us prosper. Sarve bhavantu sukinaha, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhave. Dhanyavad, bahut bahut dhanyavad.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Vivek Shankar Natarajan ji. It's such a pleasure to have you always. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for all your efforts. God should always bless you for such a wonderful hard work, sincerity, dedication, devotion, self-motivation, inspiration, right from within. You're always very supportive. I pray to Almighty for wonderful days ahead for you. You're a great soul. You're a great soul. Dr. Priya Balakrishnan ji, if you are there, may I
Yes.
humbly request you,
Good
ma'am?
morning and namaskarams, Gulshan ji and
Wow,
Vivek ji. Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. Yeah.
it's a
Good
pleasure.
morning. Thank you for having me. I don't have video just yet. I'm navigating a maze of traffic blocks here in the city. So I'm just going to be off video if you don't mind for now.
Okay, okay. Uh,
Thank you.
we also extend a very hearty welcome to Madam Renu Parashar. She is from Saudi Arabia. She is from Chandigarh, a very hardworking, very dedicated from the education fraternity. And we requested her any time of the day, whenever it's convenient to you, Renu, right from morning 9:15 to 9:15 p.m. You can join. And she is kind enough to join us. A little word from your side, Renu.
Good evening, namaskar, sir. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. I'm feeling so nice speaking in Hindi. Here in Saudi Arabia, we have either to speak Arabic or English. तो सर बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपने मुझे बुलाया और आपके साथ इन टच होने के बाद दिस इज माय सेकंड अपॉर्चुनिटी. थैंक यू वेरी मच. और इस लायक आप ही ने बनाया सर कि आज यहाँ पर काम कर रहे हैं.
God bless you. We are proud of you. We are proud of you.
This is I told you earlier, it's the world's largest university और यहाँ पर बहुत अच्छा प्रोफाइल मिला है. I'm working as an assistant professor and a program director for marketing और जो कुछ सीखा है सर आपसे सीखा है, इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है. आज आपने इस लायक बना दिया, कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स डेवलप कर दी, मोटिवेशन, नेगोशिएशन, जितनी स्किल्स हैं. It's not just because you are here on board. I openly say to everyone, it is my family institute of tourism and fashion technology. At that point, now the name has changed and you are the prime pillar who has really brought the confidence in me that yes, I can also do something. You gave the exact path. Isme I do not have any second thought about it. So my heartiest thanks from the bottom of my heart, sir. Thanks to you who gave us a nice direction. You enlightened us, and because of it, so many young students have now reached a stage where they are earning very good. They are getting good name and fame. So here in Saudi Arabia, this is evening 6 p.m. I'm sorry I'm little late because most of the things are online these days. We all know. So teaching and regular meetings were online. Sir, रही बात education की, yes, I belong to a family of academicians. My father-in-law, all university professors. I'm also on to a right track, same track. So education for peace and development, yes, I agree. Educate करना बहुत जरूरी है from my side for three perspectives: knowledge, skills, and competency. We have to give exact information, a knowledge base, a strong knowledge base to the young community. We need to develop a skill set, plus what Dr. Gulshan had always been doing, creating an awareness, digging out the talent from the young people and making them aware that yes, you have lot of skills. The only thing is you need to spare some time, take it out and start exercising, start practicing, and miracles will happen. And then a competency, which is knowledge, skill, and attitude. When amalgamate these three ingredients, knowledge, skills, and a positive state of an attitude, which I have learned from my parents and from Dr. Sharma, you are a competent person. And because with these things in my mind, I have reached this level. Sir, with your blessings, your student is having a very good position, and I'm enjoying my work. I'm imparting quality education to my students, and I always tell them that what is the importance of having, uh, a positive attitude, state of mind, and a confidence to excel in this competitive world. Thank you very much from my side, and thanks again, sir, for inviting me. Thank you.
God bless you. God bless you. Proud of you and blessings to your family. And thanks for joining. And now let me just roll some slides so for all of us, so that all the three, those have joined over here, we extend them from the bottom of our heart, our greetings, best wishes, blessings. Thank you very much for sparing your most valuable time. We started in the morning. You see, all three are listed over here. We have got Dr. Priya V Balakrishnan ji also. We have got Dr. Vivek Shankar Natarajan ji, and we have got Dr. Renu Parashar also. And little while before, we had Arpit Duggar from Dubai. He also joined. And before that, another session. So let me just quickly roll few of these slides so that we are on the common page and common frequency. Why are we here? Today is the International Day of Education 2021. So on behalf of our chamber, ICSI, International Chamber for Service Industry, because since 1994, we have taken a pledge how to make education relevant. Education has to be made relevant. And since morning, we are having all these programs going on from 9:15. It's a marathon, which we started with Director UNESCO India, and that is on the International Day of Education. Today is Sunday, January 24th. Mr. Eric Falt, Director UNESCO, recover and revitalize education for the COVID-19 generation. We started from United States in the morning from California, from the Woodbury University, Professor Satinder Dhiman, Vidya Se Adhyatam Vidya Ki Aur, an integrative series of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and 10 principal Upanishad. And आज सुबह एक नई चीज ने जन्म लिया. He told, because he told after 3 years he is joining me, and God willing, everything goes fine. He plans to come back to India. And after 3 years, when he comes back, we both had decided we will set up a Gurukul. But today we have decided we are going to set up the virtual Gurukul immediately. And within 3 years, it would reach a certain place. We will discuss that in detail. Thereafter, we had Madam
Gulshanji, this is Vivek.
Yeah.
Just a volunteer. Whenever you need somebody for a Gurukul, I'm available. Just
I know.
Volunteer immediately.
I know. I can always, and I can count on you. And you are such a blessing that God has made me to meet you. And then thereafter, we went to adding the enjoyment quotient in STEAM. And that is from the STEM to STEAM, because now art, craft, culture, cuisine, heritage, values, ethics, all that has come. Thereafter, we went waste to resource management. Why are we not teaching in our institutions that there is no waste? Everything has got a utility on this planet. It's all up to us. We declare it waste, and thereafter we don't use it. And today they had shown I was emotionally charged. And I got so disturbed that point of time. They had shown a couple of videos, and they had shown some PPTs in which they had shown all the things which we are throwing. basically the cattle, the animals, they're looking forward to that feed, and they are moving around, they are going in plastic and they're going to other places because they are not getting the basic food. Oh my God, it was something very, very emotional and touching this morning to me particularly. I got that much so puzzled here, what's happening on ground. And thereafter came the, because everybody now post pandemic needs wellness, so there was a CEO from the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Government of India, Madam Monica Bahel, and she talked about importance of wellness skills in education post COVID-19. Thereafter, there was a beautiful journey to entire Southeast Asia and ASEAN and 8 beautiful states of India, to which the Honorable Prime Minister of India calls Asht Lakshmi. So Professor Amar Yumnamji, the Vice Chancellor of Manipur University, he was with us, mind-blowing deliberations. And thereafter we went to micro, small and the medium enterprise. And there we talked about role of technology and training, future prospects as far as our youth are concerned. Thereafter, we went to Takshila, world's oldest knowledge tradition, and we got so much of wisdom from there when they discussed, deliberated, and they gave me so many valuable inputs, and I became more humble. And the gentleman came from Dubai, and that was future trends in school education. And yesterday, he had conducted 12-hour non-stop program on mathematic made easy. Mathematic made easy. 12 hours, parents, teachers, principals, students, everybody. And that was there. And ladies and gentlemen, here comes the most precious moment now. That is the finale. The I think when we talk about wellness, my physical wellness, my mental wellness, my spiritual wellness, my environmental wellness, whatsoever I can think of. Last evening, for us, evening, for them, it was morning. And Madam is so dedicated. Dr. Priya V Balakrishnan ji, the MD of the Immortality Institute at Houston, she spoke for a few moments, and every word, every sentence, what she used, I was all the time, I was zapped. I was speechless. I, I, I wanted to learn more and more from her, whatsoever I can. And then, of course, Dr. Vivek Shankar Natarajan ji, he's always with the new innovative creative ideas, professor of marketing at the Lamar University, Texas in USA. With the very folding hands, I extend a very warm welcome to all my distinguished guests from the world over. And we also extend a very warm welcome to Dr. Priya Balakrishnan ji. And
Thank you.
today's subject is something next to our heart, ladies and gentlemen, wellness. And we thought over a lot of subjects, and finally we came wellness. Kal, aaj or kal. Kal, aaj or kal. Kal, aaj or kal. Wow, that was great. And in a very humble way, I would like to tell ma'am that before we all joined this evening, just before we are starting this particular program, you will be surprised to know that when the MSME program got over, immediately during that particular program, when they were talking about entrepreneurship, there was a video which was taken out and it was shown to the global audience. And that was, I share with all of you for 15 seconds.
About 76 German companies, we know them inside out. Just a captain and a chief engineer coming together and building this up. May I tell you what happens in some of the other countries, including our own, where as soon as the captain, chief engineer, immediately there are two departments, they start fighting with each other.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a part of the MSME program, we had a very special display for the global audience today on the International Education Day. Do you want to be an entrepreneur in the global marketplace? It was mind blowing, touching everybody, and everybody was gaga, and everybody was so happy on that. With these words, I extend a very warm welcome to Dr. Priya V. Balakrishnan ji, from the United States, as well as Professor Vivek Shankar Natarajanji. And I would request Professor Vivek Shankarji to take on onward journey, because you are the chair of this session. I want to be a very humble student to take all the notes of each and every word, whatsoever Dr. Priyaji is going to talk this evening.
Namaskaram again. Thank you for giving me this the floor. So yesterday, actually, I was talking to somebody. We were all. I said previously we used to go from meetings in room to room. Now we are going in from meetings in Zoom to in the same Zoom. We are going from one meeting to another meeting. So I said in the Shastras, it says Shrota Vaktascha Durlabha. This is basically when you talk of Vedanta or Moksha Shastra, to get people who are interested to listen and people who can teach. Both are very rare. Shrota Vaktascha Durlabha. I said, but today what has happened with Zoom and webcast, we have a lot of Vakta. Vakta to hai, Shrota Durlabh ho gaye hai. So इसलिए मैं ये एक अनुरोध करना चाहता हूँ. I mean, अभी so I'll just kind of use a little Hindi because रेणु जी ने जब बोला कि राष्ट्रभाषा में बात करना है, वो तो है, where you can talk, कोई भी भाषा आप बोल सकते हैं, पर आपकी मातृभाषा राष्ट्रभाषा में जब आप वक्तव्य देते हैं तो उसमें तो मीठापन जो रहता है वो तो सोने में सुगंध हो जाता है ना. तो ये बात है. So I'm going to, and Priya ji, what I really meant was, we have a lot of people who can right now, so we need more people to listen, and especially when it comes to a topic like wellness. In wellness, anybody is an expert on wellness to some extent, starting from our own grandmothers, and that is part of our tradition. But now, partly medicine, you have great surgeons, you have great doctors, but on the other hand, you can also have what we call as, of course, we have people who really mean well. In India, of course, we take a very more holistic view, but here, somebody who's not trained in Western medicine is almost deemed as a, alternate medicine or borderline quackery and all that. Now, why am I saying that is, there is enough data that people talk about when it comes to wellness. Everybody can say they're an expert on wellness, and maybe they are, but there are only few people who have really dedicated their life to an inquiry of this in a discipline. And that really is the medical community. They start all the way from reading, doing a full-fledged course in medicine all the way to post-graduation, and then clinical trials and research, and then they're a practitioner, they meet patients. And after that, the wisdom that emerges is of a very higher order. So it is important that we listen to trained a medical professional when it comes to wellness. And for that, I cannot think of anybody better than Dr. Priya Balakrishnan. The reason I say that is not, I don't intend to do that in a flattering sense. Her accomplishments are many. She's a graduate of the prestigious Jipmer Institute in Pondicherry. And from then she came over to, which is very, very hard institute to get into. I mean, you talk about Harvard and all that, that is tough, but any institute in India, IIT, JIPMA, these are hard institutes to get into. The admission criteria is so restrictive. And after that, she has done her, residency in nephrology and internal medicine, again, very tough disciplines. And after that, she has had a very successful practicing career. But at some point, based on her advice, wisdom, and that her mother gave, she's come back to helping people reverse kidney failure. To me, that I call it as something, a passion, because to give up all that, every doctor, it takes a lot of effort. And after that, only they start to see some level of financial success. To throw it all away and say, I want to go in the spirit of Mahatma Gandhi. I want to go in the spirit of some of the noble doctors that our communities have produced and go to reverse kidney failure, and to create a whole institute for that, that is not easy. And of course, it goes without saying, she's a chip of the old block. 2 weeks back, we heard Dr. Vishweshwaran, her father, who is her father, but not only in that sense, he's also an inspirer, somebody who supports her deeply. So it is so grateful that Priya ji said, when I said this, we are doing this, she said, our family lives and breathes for the betterment of India and Indian civilization. Although we live in the US, and we love what we are doing, and we are patriotic US citizens, that is true, but we also have a deep and abiding love for India. So on the eve of the Republic Day week, we couldn't have because sure, COVID has been happening, it is there. And hopefully with the greatness of our scientists, the vaccines and all will work. People will start to already social distancing. We will see the end of COVID. But after that, what? We need to create a new generation that can take up the challenges. And so for that, as they say, Ayuhu Arogyam Aishwaryam. That is what our Shastra says. We pray for Lambi Ayu, then Arogyam, then only Aishwaryam comes. People can't create wealth without health. Health is the first wealth. So for that, we need wellness. And so I request Priya ji to give us Gyan. As I said, Shrota आजकल वक्ता है, but अच्छे वक्ता को कमी है. She's a उत्तम वक्ता, और हम सब श्रोतागण बन के उनके अमृतवाणी सुनना चाहेंगे. So over, the floor is yours, Priya ji. Let me start by invoking the mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantare Amrita Kalashahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokya Nataya Mahavishnave Namaha. धन्वंतरी भगवान के महाराज की जो अनुग्रह से भारत का सबका विश्व का कल्याण हो, और जो आरोग्य है उसका जो वो अभिवृद्धि होना चाहिए सबके लिए. With that, I pray for wellness, and I request Priya ji to take the podium. धन्यवाद. Thank you.
Namaskar, Gulshan ji. Namaskar, Vivek ji. Namaskar, everybody that is on this call. I deeply, deeply appreciate your kind words, and I feel quite unworthy, in the sense that it almost feels like I don't know who you're talking about, but I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your kindness and grace in giving me giving me this opportunity to address our our Indian diaspora and all of our Indian population with regard to the 4 aspects of wellness: spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical, kal, aj, or kal. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. This is a very dear topic to me. I feel very passionately about this, and I'm so grateful to God that we are having this opportunity to come together today and discuss this in a meaningful way. I do wish to say that I have about 4 times 3, 12 points to cover. Gulshanji, I will submit a PowerPoint to go with this a little bit later. But I do want to start by saying that on the spiritual side, what were we doing in the past that made us so great? So I'm jumping right into the topic. So on the spiritual side, definitely Lord Sri Krishna instructed Arjuna on meditation. And so going inwards has always been a strength of our culture and our heritage and our the Hindu frame of mind, the Indian frame of mind, you could say. And now it is globally being practiced. All the top CEOs of all the countries and all billionaires all over the world are practicing meditation. They have personally admitted to doing it. So they learn from somebody like Maharishi Mahesh Yogi's transcendental meditation, or Sadhguru, or somebody or the other. Every single person is practicing meditation. This was what our ancestors and what was given to us by God himself, Lord Sri Krishna. And even before that, they were Lord Krishna taught us the right way. So this is of utmost importance that all of us as adults, at any stage we can begin this. Meditation is of utmost importance for being in communion and communing with the inner infinity that is our spirit. One thing I wish to say, humbly at this point, is that the split between the Western culture and the Eastern culture occurred over exactly this point: the existence of a spirit. This is something that is not well known. But the Jews, who today called Jewish people, they're a very small community, as my father says, Dr. Viss, and they control a disproportionately large amount of wealth all over the world. And according to Kanchi Mahaparivar, they were previously the Rigvedis of the Indian culture. So The Rigvedis are the people who sit at the Homa and invoke God to come to participate in the offerings. So they were the people who were able to summon God to the offerings. Now, I don't mean to take this in a religious direction. It doesn't matter what the religion. The Rigvedi could invoke God for any religion, and they were Vedas, as you know, were not about religion specifically, and they were specifically about the practices to elevate our spiritual energy in order to try and offer ourselves to God. So these people left the Hindu religion on one point, which is denying the existence of the spirit. And that is a noteworthy point, because I'm going to talk to you about this on the physical side for what is going to come in the future in terms of healthcare. So just keep this in mind. Today, what we have to practice in terms of spirituality is what we are already doing, which is oneness globally. We are finding people who are deeply affected and bothered by the suffering of humanity come together, act as one human race rather than with national boundaries and borders or any other boundaries or borders. Even gender, which is 80% of our identity, is no barrier anymore. We are all coming together as one, and we are all acting in the knowledge that each of us has something substantial and profound to contribute, particularly our younger generation too. They are not aware of it as adults. As they return back to schools and colleges, Gulshanji asked me to keep a focus towards this also. And so in deference and honoring your request, sir, I want to say that the way as adults, as teachers, receiving these students back into colleges and receiving these students back into schools, we should tell them that you are part of one world. You are one with everybody else. And another person's suffering is no less than ours. And we need to, educate our children to feel this oneness that we are feeling spiritually. In terms of the future, in addition to feeling one with everybody, we should understand that what we bring to the table is complete and full on its own. And this is the the mantra that Vivek ji, this, and of course Gulshan ji, this too, sir. Purnamadav Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So what we bring to the table, while it may not be complete in our own self-critical eyes, it is actually complete in its offering. And we are coming with a complete and full spirit of wanting to help the other person who is in a state of suffering. So there is oneness and there is also fullness in each individual. And that is the important thing for mindset, for a spiritual mindset today. For the future, what I would like to say is there is a rise in global narcissism spiritually, and this is a personality thing we're seeing, and they call it a personality thing, but I think there's a spirit problem there. And the important thing we need to understand in order to process narcissism is an old Mahabharata principle that recently my yoga teacher at the Hindu University of America, who was my middle school yoga teacher, Sri Raghu Anantanarayanan ji, shared, which is our ability to process opposites simultaneously as true and valid. In order to deal with the rise in global narcissism, this is the most important lesson of the Mahabharata. We should be able to process opposites simultaneously as true. So if we are able to understand the spiritual analogy of that, and understand that what starts to go around in a circle will come back, then spiritually we are in a frame of mind that we can deal with whether it's Donald Trump or Vladimir Putin or Queen Elizabeth who's ruling the world. Whatever it is, we are able to process it and resolve it spiritually on the inside. So that is my kal aaj or kal for spirituality, spiritual wellness. Then there is emotional wellness. In the past, we were accomplishment focused and karma yoga focused. And definitely that got a lot of things done. And it was something that is that gave us emotional succor and strength from having completed what we started. And the more things we did, the more emotional well-being we achieved. When I talk about what we need to do today and what we need to do for the future, we are not leaving any of the past um, uh, skill sets that we have as by virtue of being of Indian origin. So we need to continue to be accomplishment focused. And today, what we have to do is we have to stay optimistic. What we're seeing today is a bizarre aberration. This is not normal. This is not usual. This is a handing off of the power between two powerful authorities that we are not a part of. And we need to stay optimistic that tomorrow is going to be a better day. Emotionally, this is what is of essential importance. And as teachers, as parents at home dealing with young people, we have to show them the path of optimism and positivity, exactly as Gulshanji and Gulshanji was educating his students. As he's continuing to educate his students, optimism is of utmost importance in order to stay emotionally positive and healthy. And for the future, I would say that we need to have our future focused on creating what we do the best as Indians and as Sanatanis based on our past strengths and our past accomplishments. So we take the encouragement from our past accomplishments as the foundation, and then we have a future focus. And the future focus is what is going to help us pull ourselves out of any sort of bog or mire. So that is 6 points. And I just want to take a break now and ask Gulshanji, is there any, am I addressing the topic in the correct way, sir? Do you have any feedback for me?
Absolutely, ma'am. Please go ahead. Please go ahead. We are right. We're in the right direction, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you very much. And so then I will go on to mental health, and I want to talk about what was constituting mental health in the past. And I would say it was actually intellectual achievements. So intellectual achievements in mathematics, astronomy, Ayurveda, all of these things were helping us tremendously in the past. We were a very intellectual group of people, and that helped us stay tremendously mentally healthy. Was doing Ganit or astronomy, the Hindi word for it. So astronomy, mathematics, Ayurveda, these were our intellectual pillars, and engaging the mind in an infinity orientation. So that is what helped us stay mentally very healthy in the past. We have to carry that with us. Today we need to be family focused in order to come out of this pandemic. We have to take care of our family, our loved ones, our cousins, whatever knowledge, information we're getting from whatever source, we have to pass it on to everybody in our immediate environment. And in order for, I was just telling Gulshanji yesterday that, America, one of the most intellectual magazines in America called The Atlantic, has just recently published an article saying that the nuclear family experiment of 50 years in America is dead. It has failed. So, mental health today in America, so many of us are isolated. We are living in a bubble of, there is a rugged individualism in America. Anything I can do it on my own. And then when the pandemic hits, we are isolated and alone. And it is a very terrible, this is why there is such an epidemic of mental illness in America, is because of not being in close harmony and relationship and association with the family. I think that is of utmost importance today in India, because if we don't put that focus today, then tomorrow we're going to be this rugged individuals that the American culture is propagating. And then for the future, I would say we must focus on the health of the community. The health of the community in Christian and Western nations comes from their Sunday school, their churches, where they meet as a community, they address one another's problems, they pray for one another as they're going through some stress. In Sanatana Dharma, our relationship with God has always been one-on-one, because that is actually the nature of the relationship with God. the true and enduring nature of relationship with God is one-on-one. But there needs to be either a secular or a Sanatana community togetherness, which I think is already existing in some parts. But that needs to be built and strengthened and fortified, because the enemy sometimes is not, somebody that is declaring themselves to be an enemy. The enemy sometimes is somebody that has a different set of values than us, and those values are opposite to the best interests of the greatest number of people in the community. So when we are in communities, then we are observing this inimical behavior to the greatest good, and we are able to help each other out and pull each other out of some sort of mental abyss. So for mental health, individual and collective social mental health, we need to come together as communities. Small villages is okay. Villages of similar minded people thinking like thoughts, that is okay. It doesn't matter if we are separated by distance. It can be a virtual reality church or a temple, as I was telling Vivekji the other day. It doesn't matter how it is, but the communities we have to create and we have to maintain them for mental health of the individual and for mental health of the entire country. And finally, talking about physical health for Kal, Aj, or Kal. In the old days, we had people like Charaka and Sushruta and this mantra, Vivekji, I'm sure you're able to complete it. This kaka or crow was cawing, and I think it was Charaka that heard it. He heard it as Koruk, Koruk, and he said, Shatapadagami, Vamashayi. So somebody who walks 100 steps and who lies on the left side at night, these are people that are not going to get sick. Very simple, and our Ayurveda, our yoga, our meditation, all of these were good for physical health, obviously, in addition to spiritual health. Today, with the focus on the pandemic, I would say it is of utmost importance to fortify our bodily substrate by taking supplements that will strengthen our body and allow us to cultivate our immunity in the temporary short term, utilizing some props. So, one of the supplements I would like to mention is vitamin B12. Take it orally or take it as intramuscular injections, which I prefer. It was invented, or actually it was described, sorry, not invented. It was isolated and described by an Indian Ayurvedic physician who also got his licentiate medical practitioner degree from Madras Medical College, Dr. Yellapragada Subbarao, who then went to Oxford and got his PhD. On the same night that he was married, his father-in-law, because he was such a brilliant physician, his father-in-law sent him to Oxford. He got his PhD there, and then from Oxford, he was sent to the US, where he came and he worked at Harvard as a postdoctoral student, and then he joined what was then called American Cyanamid, which is today called Pfizer. And he discovered many things. And in fact, Japanese doctors and scientists have said if we are alive today, it is because of an unknown doctor by the name of Dr. Yellapragada Subbarao, who was trained in Ayurveda. And vitamin B12 is his vitamin B12, folic acid, the tetracycline class of antibiotics. He created so many what is called Western medicine supplements and drugs that it's rather unfortunate that we don't find his name in Western medicine textbooks, but he was a most generous donor to this list of supplements that I'm telling you about. I specifically recommend vitamin B12 for one reason. There is a metal atom in the center of this 5-carbon ring, and the metal atom oscillates above and below the plane of the 5-carbon ring. And what this does is it absorbs the metal atom in methylcobalamin, which is vitamin B12, which has some other names due to other groups, is cobalt. And so if you think of a guitar string made out of a metal, different metals, different thicknesses, any force that you apply to the guitar string, it is going to produce the same sound if your finger is placed in the same place in the strut. So if you think of the ambient electromagnetic energy, hitting this cobalt atom, it will only put out one signal that is healthy to the nervous system. So that is the importance of vitamin B12. It helps us process the ambient electromagnetic cacophony into frequency that is healthy for the central nervous system. So it is of utmost importance for human health. So if there is one thing you can take away from this talk, and you take away that replacing vitamin B12 is important for health, I would be very happy with even just that. But that is only Aaj, physical Aaj. Now we are talking about Kal, which is tomorrow. And here what I want to say is, taking inspiration from somebody like Dr. Yellapragada Subbarao, I believe Ayurveda has an infinite amount of offerings to Western medicine. And we have to present it to them in the way that they understand. One of the things that I have been lucky to have this energy flow through me, Gulshanji, is this patent that I've been awarded in globally and in the United States for the discovery of the body's regenerative organ system.
Wow.
And
Remarkable.
that,
Remarkable.
thank you. Thank you. So now in our biology textbooks, over the next 10, 20, 30 years, we will have one more system added to our biology textbooks. And the regenerative organ system, the idea for me came from Ayurveda, yoga, and meditation. So that whole, I have, based on the inspiration given to me by my parents, whatever income is generated by the drugs that comes out of this regenerative organ system, if they pay me a portion of it, the entire portion of it is coming back to India. So that is, with that, I would like to conclude my 12 points. Sir. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak. Please feel
Uh,
free to ask any questions, and anything that I'm able to answer, I will happily answer.
we are so grateful. We are so, and I just wish to share one slide with you over here
Yes, sir.
when we are talking about the 8 dimensions of wellness, ma'am.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Emotional, spiritual, intellectual, physical, environmental, financial, occupational, and
Yes.
social. Now,
Yes.
these are being taken care of by the Sector Skill Council over here. First of all, let me let me just endorse. One of the lady has mentioned, you when you were talking about astronomy and you were talking about Ayurveda, उसको हिंदी में खगोल शास्त्र बोलते हैं मैम, मेरे को भी नहीं पता था.
Yes.
So
Thank you so much.
you just posted there, so खगोल शास्त्र.
Thank you
And
so much. Appreciate it.
thereafter, ma'am, thanks a lot. This. Okay. Ayurveda origin created vitamin B12 injections. Okay. A couple of posts are coming on that vitamin B12. Okay. I'll keep to that. So now the thing is, ma'am, I would
Yes,
just
sir.
like to, first of all, when we are talking about this, you have got Wellness Village. I wish
Yes.
to know a little bit more about that, ma'am. I wish
Sure.
I
Absolutely.
wish to know a little bit.
So, the Wellness Village is where the Immortality Institute is located. We have a clinic, which is primarily at this time a clinical research facility, but we are taking care of patients both by telemedicine and in person. And we have, our goal is to maximize the body's ability to regenerate any damage to itself. So, we believe that this regenerative organ system has two limbs, an afferent limb and an efferent limb. The afferent limb is how the body is receiving the signals from the outside, this electromagnetic energy, right?
Mhm.
Be it solar or be it cell phone towers, whatever it is, the electromagnetic energy that's surrounding us, how the body is receiving it into the regenerative organ system. That is the afferent limb. And when the afferent limb is shut off, that is how we are proposing the body ages. Then we know that the kidney is the lead organ of this regenerative organ system. It's like the president of the board, and the bone marrow is the chief executive officer of the board of the company that is the regenerative organ system. So they make stem cells. The kidney can make lots of stem cells. The kidney can also give the bone marrow instructions to make stem cells. And uh, we believe that when these stem cells are made from particular signals of distress from individual organs, they go to those organs and they heal them and they regenerate them. So this is called the efferent limb of the regenerative organ system. And when there is a block of this efferent limb to any particular organ, that is how this chronic medical illness results, which is an incurable lifelong disease. So our mission is to reverse chronic medical diseases like kidney failure, diabetes, heart diseases, and neurological diseases. And number two, to study and make happen human biological immortality, which we believe our ancestors were already doing thousands of years ago. So, and there is a very deep aspect here that I think this is probably, I will save it for another discussion because um, it is a little more, even more technical, and it really brings out our our spirituality into the Western medicine realm. So I don't want to discuss it now. But I do believe that so we have our clinic, we have our clinical research arm, and then we have our education arm, which is the Vishwa Institute of Higher Education, where we are giving 2 PhDs a year to people that we train in regeneretics, which is a new word we have coined to which is basically, it means the technology of bodily regeneration, and regenerance is the science of bodily regeneration. These are all words that we have coined, and we are giving PhDs to people in regenerance or regeneretics and entrepreneurship. So we are giving them skills in both entrepreneurship and in regenerance or regeneretics, and we are graduating them. It is a minimum 4-year program, and we do invite people to apply for this. It is a very preliminary stage right now, but funding and applicants are solicited, and the entrepreneurial training is available in abundance from Dr. Viss. In fact, the Vishwa Institute of Higher Education is dedicated to Dr. Viss and to Mrs. Lalita, our parents. And so these are the institutions in the wellness village, sir. And we have other ancillary um, institutions that are other people are owning, and they're aggregating to where we are. So, thank you. I'm sorry, I can't hear you, sir.
Do you have a little more time, ma'am? Can I take 3-4 questions?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
actually, I request you to do a lot of good questioning coming on the YouTube. So,
Yes,
yeah, please, I think there are wonderful questions.
I know. Ma'am, I just want to educate myself on a little different area. Uh,
Yes, please.
I learned that Yogi Amrit Desai ji,
Yes.
who has got Amrit Yoga Institute at present in Florida, and he moved first to United States for Hatha Yoga. And
Yes, sir.
Maharishi ji, way back in 1953, 54, 55, he was in Tamil Nadu. He spent some
Mhm.
time over there, and he took a couple of years over here. I, along with my wife, had visited his Noida, the complex also when you talked about transcendental meditation. And I
Yes, sir.
still remember Dr. Gyanendra Mahapatra ji, he was there. And my wife coming from the media side, so she made a small films also, which we had put on Indian television at that point of time. Then we went to meet Acharya Braspati Dev Trigunaji, because he and
Okay.
Maharishi ji were very close to each other.
Okay.
I learned this that when Maharishi ji went back to United States, thereafter two people have met him. One was now known as Shri Ravi Shankar ji. It was that
Yes.
time Ravi Shankar ji. And
Hmm.
secondly, a young person who is an army officer's son. They were staying in Defense Colony in Delhi, and then he
Okay.
moved that time to America. He is Deepak Chopra ji.
Oh, okay.
So both these young
Small world.
yeah, both these youngsters, they met Maharishi ji, and
Yes, sir.
Maharishi ji thereafter started. So when I talk about yoga, Hatha Yoga, So they say it is basically Amrit Desai ji, Yogi Amrit Desai ji. When I talk about meditation, they say it is Maharishi ji. And
Yes.
then there were two more gentlemen with Amrit Desai ji. From Pune, there was a BKS Iyengar ji.
Yes.
And they were Swami Sachitanand ji.
Hmm.
And then Prabhupada ji took bhakti to America. So
Yes.
I was just trying to read quite a bit of literature, and quite a bit of it I wanted to just go through and understand what all is available over there. So I just want to understand at present what is the status of wellness industry in United States, and particularly post COVID.
Yes.
Do you think that Ayurveda has got a better future, better place, particularly our herbal medicines and herbal based, which are plant based herbs, whatsoever? How do you look at the whole scenario?
This is an excellent question, and I am constantly studying in this field, sir. So I thank you for bringing up the names of the great people in this field. I'm so grateful to you. Now, another person who's made a big impact, who's unfortunately no more, is Dr. Naram. I think they really appreciate him here as well. Yogi Amrit Desai ji's daughter-in-law was my patient, and we so it's a very small circle, sir. She was referred to me by Sri Rajan Narayanan, who's the founder of Life and Yoga Institute in
Hmm.
Washington, D.C. I can't talk about obviously the condition and everything, so I will just preserve the privacy there. Um, but she is one of the VIP patients I was talking about in the website, and definitely Dr. Deepak Chopra and Dr. Vis and I have met a couple of times, and Dr. Chopra had even tried to ask me to open the Chopra Institute here in Houston. These are all great personalities, and I feel humbled and honored to be your student and Vivek G's student and their student. So definitely they have brought tremendous value to this world and to America and to India and to Deepak Chopra ji is now of course focused on Saudi Arabia and the Middle East Gulf countries to raise their spiritual and wellness awareness. The state of the wellness in the United States is very rapidly improving since the start of the pandemic. And I would say that people have universally become more aware of the need for a better underlying bodily health. And people are universally seeking uh, doctors who are offering alternative medicine and what they call alternative medicine and care. And the way I would present this to Ayurvedic practitioners is that Ayurveda has the correct intention in the approach to the body, health, and disease. There is a correct intention. The sankalpa for treatment is correct in Ayurveda.
Hmm.
And so, because of that, all of the actions that are involved with herbs and using them for different diseases, I think the results have the potential of being extraordinary when used with correct knowledge and correct experience and expertise.
Hmm.
I think there is a huge scope for growth for Ayurveda in the United States in the post pandemic wellness era. People have understood in America that Western medicine has collapsed. It has not been able to save these 400,000 lives.
Hmm.
And the reason for that
Hmm.
is because modern Western medicine is the illegitimate child, you could say, in a very crude way, of the lawyers, the pharmaceutical industry, and government, regulatory authorities. So Ayurveda is not obligated to lawyers to meet this what is called standard of care. Ayurveda is not obligated to the pharmaceutical industry and corporate America. I think anything that is done with the correct sankalpa, the correct actions for the patient's best good and for their longevity, which is important. Everything that we do cannot just be to cure their disease. It has got to be with the idea of keeping them well and away from us. Patients have to get discharged and go home and try to lead their life without seeing the doctor every month. That is optimal wellness. So anything that we do with that correct thought process and mindset, without being obligated to insurance industry, that is the other parent of this modern Western medicine, is the insurance industry here,
You've taken the
without being
You've taken the words from my mouth. You've taken the words from my mouth. Our next
yes.
question was coming on insurance. Next question, please go ahead.
So the insurance industry, the pharmaceutical industry, the government regulatory authorities, the legal profession, these are not the people who should decide how medicine is practiced. And unfortunately, in the United States today, which is setting the standard of care all over the world in medical and healthcare, which is a shame because Bharat was the source of medicine all over the West. This Prophet Mani, who I was mentioning to you, is the one who set up the first Western hospital in Gundeshapur in Iran. And he took Ayurvedic doctors from India to do that. That was the first hospital in the West. So, as recently as 270 AD, so not even 2000 years ago, they had no hospitals and they were taking doctors from India who were Ayurveda trained. That is the start of Western medicine. So, no, we should not feel we are inferior to anybody, as Dr. Viss says. We should never cross the line into feeling superior because nobody is superior. But we should never feel inferior. We bring something. We are equally like anybody else trying to contribute to the upliftment of global health and longevity and wellness. And what we bring to the table is full by itself. It does not need anything else to make it full. So those are my points. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. In fact, people are sending a lot of comments over here. I was just reading that very carefully.
Yes.
Um, so
Thank you.
what is the solution? What is the solution? Okay, let's take one scenario, one narrative, ma'am, one narrative.
Yes.
A lot of MSME sector has suffered because of this corona. A lot of people have lost their jobs, and particularly tourism, hotel industry, airline industry, retail industry, entertainment industry. They will take quite some time to get back to the normal. At this point of time, what is essential for people is your basic food, your basic health, and your basic
Yes.
education, and life should go on with the positivity.
Exactly.
Now, when we are talking about wellness, let's take a small example. Japan, Japan Prime Minister, along with India's Prime Minister, have done a MOU, kind of an understanding that
Mhm.
300,000 yoga teachers,
Wow.
that is 300,000 yoga teachers,
Mhm.
and along with that will combine nurses also, paramedical people also, there are also about 3 lakh people to go from India to Japan, to different cities, right, starting from Sapporo, Hokkaido, Kobe, Kyoto, Fukuoka, all the places wherever it is. So
Okay.
now, how do you look at it? Because one question, when I was watching and when I was listening very carefully to Maharishi ji's you know, he told that if I try to tell in India itself
Mhm.
that Ayurveda and traditional medicines and everything, they will not take it that easy. But
Correct.
if I go all the way from Tamil Nadu and I go and first set up a base in Hawaii and in United States, and I make all these people natives over there to practice this, and then bring it back to India, then everybody would follow. No, what is that?
Yes.
What is that narrative, ma'am? How do you look at that? Why don't we appreciate our own? What do we do? What do we do? Because the reason being, if herbal plantation today, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Manipur University, he told, he made two statements and I was zapped. He told, do you know that Northeast India gives oxygen to India? He told,
Beautiful.
Northeast India gives oxygen to India. He
He's
told,
so right.
we have polluted every city, every place, but the
Yes.
maximum plantation and forest cover that is in northeast part of India. So I was very
Yes.
happy on that. Then second part, I have also come to know that majority of the herbal medicine and plants are available in northeast part of India.
Mm,
Second statement,
beautiful.
of course, few places are there in Himachal Pradesh when we talk about upper Himachal and all that, and
Hmm.
Uttarakhand also couple of places. Wherever the greenery and the mountainous and all this kind of
Mountains.
particular
Sure.
kind of area.
Yes,
So
sir.
we were just sharing, and I was telling him, "You give me the solution. If startups, self-employment, wellness, self-care, and at the same time traditional, that for that pathy has to be followed in future to remain well, and
Yes.
not to pop about 30 medicines or 30 tablets in the morning and 30 in the evening. For
Yes.
that matter, the mindset has to be changed. So
Completely.
where do you see the post COVID scenario as on date when we are talking? Can
Yes.
how Ayurveda and the holistic, the complete approach of wellness, because whether you're talking about meditation, you talked about, so yoga, meditation, naturopathy, all that what we are talking over here, when we want to take it deeply, how do you look at it where we are in a position to have startup? Because the other day somebody came and I would say he made me speechless. He said, don't be proud of your IT industry and all. I said, yes. He says, what have you done? Do you think that few softwares is everything? No. Kehta, why India has not built the hardware?
You
You're
were
getting,
right.
you're getting the gadgets from outside. You're getting every part from outside, and you're just.
Hmm.
So I think awakening is coming. We are in the positive
Yes.
direction. We are moving in that direction. What would you like to tell for wellness, Ayurveda,
Yes.
and holistic healing from your perspective
Yes.
as an expert?
This is a very deep and a very important question you've asked, Gulshan ji. I want to touch your feet and pranam for asking this question. I think about this all the time because I feel that these are two very different schools of thought, the Eastern and the Western world. And this is why I said the split of the Western school of thought occurred at the level of the spirit, denying the spirit, denying reincarnation, denying karma, denying the need for doing dharma. Everything is outsourced. Law enforcement has to enforce your awareness of right and wrong from the outside. The police has to shoot you if you murder somebody. You don't, if you can get away with it, you can. And the exemplar of that person who does not need to follow dharma, who karma has not impacted, who has the kind of wealth that they can play God. There is only one person today in the world. There is another person who is catching up very fast. That one person is the Queen of England. Her net worth is 150 trillion US dollars. Mr. Putin is the first male in the trillionaires club. Mr. Vladimir Putin, he is her protege. The reason I'm mentioning this, I'm not a politician, but we have to understand very clear eyed who is calling what shots. When you have that kind of obscene amount of wealth, you can play God. You can have a religion or a group of religions and say, we don't believe in the spirit. We don't believe in karma. We don't need dharma, and create an alternate reality universe that is not based on enduring permanent truths. So I'm humbly and respectfully submitting to you again that the difference between us and the Western culture and civilization, the entirety of it, including healthcare, is the study of the spirit. That is what makes us unshakable. And the lessons of the spirit are in that greatest healthcare manual of the world, which is the Bhagavad Gita. I'm not pushing the Hindu religion, but I am saying, if you want to be the best doctor in the planet, on the planet, if you want to be the person to whom everything is referred, like Dr. Deepak Chopra, study the spirit and understand the inside and out of Bhagavad Gita and follow it. Let it percolate through every cell layer in your body. Let every cell be able to sing the essence of it, not the words, but understand the essence of that phenomenal healthcare manual, which is all about the spirit. All disease is from damage to the spirit. The reason Western medicine has collapsed is because of the denial of the existence of the spirit. They may colloquially agree, or in their religious settings, they may say yes. But there is no Western medicine textbook that talks about the spirit. Ayurveda is based on the human spirit and what nourishes the human spirit. So focus on the spirit, go inside. That is where all the answers are. And that is how we can excel and exceed. So study Ayurveda. Ayurveda is complete in itself. If you want to be relevant in the West, study it along with Western medicine and use Western medicine sparingly to meet the standard of care and use what is enduring truth to heal your patient. That is what I would humbly and respectfully submit to you. Thank you.
Dr. Priya ma'am, I've become more humble. I've become more humble after listening to you, your views. There's one of the principal who is writing that our school children are not aware about the greatness, richness in every field of science, math, astrology. So, so many good things about India. There is a lack of communication. Surendra Pal Agnihotri ji is writing. And
Yes, sir.
another lady is writing, I think they systematically killed Ayurveda pathy to establish their newfound so-called allopathic.
Correct.
Ah,
Ayurveda was the original practice of the healing arts. It was based on understanding the spirit and having the sankalpa of not only healing the patient, but giving them a long life. Understanding scientifically rather than attributing it to individuals or human beings. What is the cause of disease and suffering and prolonged periods of negativity or misfortune in a person's life? That is how astrology came about. When we study anything scientifically, what we observe is every bit valid, regardless of what the foundation or school of thought process is. If the study is scientific, it doesn't matter. Yes, we have a lot to learn from the West, but the foundation that we are starting with is a solid structure. There is no shaking that foundation, and there is no point kicking such a solid foundation, because the foundation of the West is based on an erroneous school of thought. That is where the cultures diverged, and they distinctly said there is no rebirth. I don't care about karma. We have one life to lead. I want to be rich. I want to have it all. Nothing wrong. You can be rich and have it all, but acknowledge karma. Don't say that there is no consequence. It ends when I die. Then my child deals with it. Understand that Charlotte is the reincarnation of you. When 80% of your spirit is gone into Princess Charlotte's body, your body will die. When you understand these things, then you are able to make more correct choices that are, that have impact for a prolonged period of time. Now, the reason for their distinguishing and differentiating themselves from us repeatedly is because They have created an alternate reality universe based on the non existence of the spirit, the denial of the existence of the spirit. I look upon this culture and civilization as an alternate reality universe, like Trishanku, where you deny the existence of the spirit, you deny the existence of karma, your dharma is enforced by law enforcement from the outside. You live in the moment and you make, have it all, go for it. Nothing wrong. We can take the good things about this culture, but do not kick our foundation. Our foundation is based on enduring permanent truths, enduring and permanent truth.
So,
That is the foundation. So,
final question, ma'am.
yes,
My
sir.
curiosity you have raised to that level that this time is not sufficient. And particularly when I've got two of the marketing people over here, one is the professor of marketing in America, other one is the professor of marketing in Saudi Arabia.
Yes,
Now, I've got a final question, my dear Dr. Priya sister. I wish
yes,
to
sir.
ask you one question. Artificial world which has been created in a way because finance plays very important role. You have already given a kind of a narration. I don't want to repeat those two names, political names and other things,
Yes,
but
neither do I.
what I wish to understand over here is you also made a mention that people were suffering, they were dying, but there was nobody to take care of them because the nucleus family, me, my wife, and my two kids, or maybe one
Correct,
kid, or maybe no kid, and
correct.
whatsoever is the kind of life. So, if that is the case, the children have gone very far.
Yes,
Children have gone very far. They are living in platonic world. They are living in
yes,
virtual world. They are not living
yes,
in reality. And
yes.
the narration has been created. It's a little difficult for me to put it in a perspective, certain things. So many
Sure.
countries, when I was with the Ministry of Tourism, they told me, oh, why don't you stay here only? Why don't you become our citizen? And when I was teaching for a short while in different countries, so I said, no, I'm very happy. I'm very happy. I
Yes.
would like to go back. And I came back.
Hmm.
Today, when I look back at the whole thing, and I try to analyze what do we do, how do we do, how do we package that the joint family system once again, all generations together. And secondly, the children, those have gone into the virtual world. I sit inside flight, I sit inside train, or I sit in bus. A youngster sitting next to me is not interested to talk. He or she is putting on the earbuds and they are listening to, and they do not know those people, they have never met those people, they are not likely to meet those people, but that makes them cry, that makes them laugh. And that's why the movie has also been made recently, that my son had made me to see, Social Dilemma, the Social Dilemma. And
Okay.
now, how do we bring children back? Tell me, because new
Yes.
education now the fulcrum of the entire thing, I'm coming to the climax.
Yes.
That is, today is the deliberation on new education policy 2020 of India. Today is
Yes,
a,
sir.
today is the International Education Day. We are talking about post COVID-19, this particular pandemic, Corona, which disturbed the whole world.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, the children, those have gone so far, they are not near. They are in a virtual world. There are no
Yes.
joint families. And I do not know, because it's very difficult for me, because I have got a daughter also, granddaughter also, grandson also, and my daughter-in-law also, my wife also, my mother also. Everybody, I got to bring a balance. And sometimes my son comes and he talks to me, Dad, you take care of these three generation females. He laughs, and then we both laugh. We are the best friends on this planet. I
Beautiful.
would say we are the best friends on this planet. He says, I have told you, now you handle this problem. Sometimes if I
Yes.
have a difficulty, I tell him, I've got this problem, now you handle. He says, you leave it to me. I'll take care of my mom and I'll take care of your mom also. So what I'm sharing is, when the children have gone that far,
Yes.
things are all materialistic, artificial, and how would we get? We want to get ancient values, Vedic parampara, Sanskriti, We want to tell them that, look, Rishi, Muni, all that, Gurukul. I'm going to say, I'm keen, I'm interested. But what do I
Yes.
do? How do I do it? Where do I start?
Thank you. This is a brilliant and a beautiful question. And I'm so grateful you asked me this because it makes me very happy to share with you what Dr. Viss has done
Hmm,
with our family.
hmm,
And that is why we are attached to him,
hmm.
why we are still in his orbit. We are surrounding him all the time because
He
let
is
me tell you,
awesome. He's awesome. And
he is.
the other day when he told me there was a choice between Filipinos and India, and finally the German gave the business to Filipinos. My eyes were popping out, and he said, "You know what is the reason? Indians have got
Yeah,
two problems. One is ego, and secondly, they become selfish when something of that kind comes." So
correct.
I was taken aback, and he told me, uh, "If somebody wants to be an entrepreneur, are you ready? Are you ready to burn your day and night? Are you
Yes,
ready to work 3 times more than others? You Entrepreneurship is not a time pass. Entrepreneurship, becoming an entrepreneur, and so many examples he quoted. That's why
yes,
his YouTube, we ran with the MSME sector today. Chalo,
yes.
Dr. Priya sister, let's get on to.
So I think, based on what I've observed Dr. Viss do for our family,
Hmm.
we as the grown-ups have to grow a lot more.
Oh, okay.
We have to grow a lot more
Hmm.
in order to bring the children back to us. So everything they know, we need to know. Whether it is technology, whether it is cutting edge, if it's Facebook, if it is TikTok, if it is, whatever the current rage and the craze is, we should be doing that. We should take extraordinary good care of our health. We should make our own parents the priority. And we should be willing to mentor young people from less fortunate situations who need people like us to look up to, role models. Our children are more fortunate. They will seek more or different mentors. So it has to be an interconnected community. So the less fortunate children will come to us for mentorship. We must embrace them. Our children will go seek mentorship from other people. Those people must be our friends. We must not put a burden on our children by being unhealthy and by needing them for our healthcare needs or financial needs, or saying, beta, I don't have this, beta, today the doctor said my diabetes is out of control. No. Take charge of our own health, our own wealth, our own, wherever it is possible. I can be talking like this. Some places it is not possible. I understand that. And where it is not possible with health, I'm available to anybody and all to help put the health back on track. And we can find people who can mentor for finances, even older people. Because, like I say, compound interest, right? They've told us for a long time now, compound interest is about duration. If you invest when you're 50, you're going to get that sixth multiple less. So your wealth will end at, 10 lakh rupees instead of being 1 crore or 10 crores. Because the last multiple is gone if you start at 50, whereas if you start at 30. But what I'm saying is, when you have 100% return, and you can have 100% return every 3 months and 1 year, it doesn't matter how much longer you have to live or what age you are when you start. And there are people who can make that happen financially. So, my advice to older people, I would not say advice, my humble suggestion and request is, let us make it about ourselves. Let us lift ourselves. Our playing game is at a much higher level. Then these kids, what do? They're not going to turn and look at other people. They want people who look like them to be their role models. The best Americans who are international global role models have their health, their spirituality, their families, their emotional health, their mental health, their physical health in extraordinary condition. The best Indian role models and all Indian adults should be like that. If we are like that, our youth don't have to go anywhere else. It falls on us, it's not on them. That's my humble and respectful submission to you. And that is what Dr. Viss is. Everything that we are able to do, he is able to do that and all the everything in the old past. So many of the people who work with him, they have family problems. One doesn't have a father, one doesn't have a mother, one hasn't been married, one is not able to have children. Whatever emotional, spiritual problem they bring to he's helping them, covering up for them. Not covering up for them, meaning he's making them whole. That, when that is done, then the young people are flowering. But he's doing everything for them. They may be employees, but he's doing everything for them. So that is what we should bring to the family and the community. The elders amongst us have to lift ourselves up. Then the children will be okay. I don't think the children are the problem, honestly.
Very kind of you. Very kind of you. Thank you very much. Have become so humble. So very kind for having spared your most valuable time to be with
Thank you.
us this morning from your side, this evening with us. Somebody is in
Thank you.
morning, somebody is in afternoon, somebody is in evening. People, those are watching this particular program. So well said, as parent needs to be the role models. हमारी कथनी और करनी में कोई फर्क नहीं होना चाहिए. Some ladies writing. Okay,
Exactly.
that's great. So
Thank
that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you very much. And
Thank you, sir.
I'm so
Appreciate you so
grateful.
much.
I'm so grateful to Professor Vivek Shankar Natarajan ji for having requested you and bringing you on this particular platform and to share your vision, your journey, your thought process, and your
Thank you.
expertise and your wisdom, your knowledge, everything. And
Thank you, sir.
you have empowered another lady from Saudi Arabia also, Renu
Oh,
Parash. She has also been empowered this evening. So both.
namaste, Renuji. Namaskar. Such a
Namaskar,
pleasure to meet you.
namaskar. Pleasure is all mine seeing you virtual, and I was really listening to each and every small minute word that you have uttered. And
Thank you.
I was just wondering, Dr. Sharma asking this question, how to bring children back, and the answer was given by himself by saying that he's managing 3 generations. So I
Yes.
personally feel that the
Yes. He
way to,
knows.
yes,
It
the
is
best,
very
Sharma
difficult
ji, you
task.
are doing it. You are the role model.
yes,
आप ही हैं.
he
आप
also,
ही गुरुजी हैं सबके लिए.
It is very difficult task to
it
keep
is not
everybody
difficult.
happy.
It is not difficult. Difficulty lies here in the mind.
Wow.
Uh, yes, and why I personally believe that it is very important to have children back. Youth is going in another direction, but they are not at fault. They are they are born, brought up, bred, butter, everything in such an advanced technological world, which is a need of the hour. So as correctly said by Dr. Priya, that we need to upgrade ourselves, and I personally feel that most of our educated mothers are doing this in one way or the other. And so
Absolutely.
at personal level, I feel that the only way to get the children back is to be good friends with them.
Exactly. And that was also something I wanted to say. Dr. Sharma already said the same thing. And absolutely, Renuji, what you said was 100% correct. Is once it says very clearly in our Shastras, once the child is above the shoulder height, they are only our friends.
They are our
And
friends.
we have to be attractive to them. We have to be loving,
Loving
friendly, laughing, joking, listening to them, asking them, how was your day? How can I help you? How
being
can I be there for you? What is it that you need from me? I love you no matter what, and I will always be here for you.
it should
That's
be
all they
unconditional.
need.
It should be unconditional friendship. Normally what
Exactly.
that when we say that we are friends, but when it's a
Yes.
question of interaction between the mother and the son, the mother instinct comes. So what
Yes.
I am blessed with 19 years old son, and I have not met him. It's been more than a year time because of thanks to COVID, which has really taught me so many things. Being away from the family, it's been more than 1 year. I'm maintaining distance marriage, so
Oh
away
dear.
from my husband, away from my family. I'm all alone here.
So
But
sorry to hear that. My heart is with you.
doctor, no, no, sorry. Initially I used to feel, oh my God, what has happened? But
Yes.
today, believe you me, I feel God has a wonderful plan for me. This,
Correct.
a time period when I'm alone, I have really spiritually grown. I have grown spiritually. I have,
Yes.
and it is said that once the mother, the lady of the house is growing spiritual, the entire family gets torch, it's a torch, they get light,
Completely.
right?
Completely.
So I found this year,
Completely.
very nice, and it gave me a feeling of enlightenment. And I feel that this friendship between me and my son should be so unconditional, that
Yes.
you are really having a friend, good,
Yes.
bad, ugly, whatever you have done,
Solid friend. Yes. Solid
whatever
friend
you have
that's not
faced,
going away no matter what.
yes. So
That
you
is,
will
that
perfectly,
will,
this is the
yes.
only
And
way to get children back, be their
in
friend.
order, yes, in order to be able to have those friendly conversations, we have to keep up with their world.
Yes.
कहते
In
ना,
order to have those conversations, we have to keep up with that their lingo, their jargon, their reality, whatever that is. We have to keep up. We have to be ahead of them. Hey, did you see so and so is doing this? Hey, did you see somebody is doing that? Whatever this is. And the other thing is, I completely agree with you, Renuji, that mother has to be spiritual. And in fact, one thing, Sharmaji, I wanted to say was, I'm planning on returning to India in 10 years' time to teach Western spirituality in India, because there's a lot, but viewed from the Bhagavad Gita. So what has been done is they've taken the Gita and they have adapted it to their culture. But we are going to take it back, but through the lens of the Bhagavad Gita. I want to bring that back to India in 10 years' time. I
wonderful.
plan on spending 10 years in India teaching how Western spirituality can be used with our culture without giving up our culture. So
I'm
definitely, that reverse gaze that Rajiv Malhotra ji keeps talking about, that Purva, what is it called? I forgot the word for it. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about, that, reverse gaze,
yeah, yeah.
that we should, doing that, being our friends, our children's best friend, being there for them through no matter what. And one more thing about, if I had to sum up parenting, I would say that it is not about sending the child to this tuition and getting them guitar and piano lessons and classical music and dance and this and that. Yes, all that is probably also there. But fundamentally, we have to teach them the 5 levels of depth of right and wrong questioning. Is this the right thing to do? Will this impact and affect the non creation of jobs? Will it impact future generations? These are the questions we have to train the child to ask about any big action they're going to take. If we train them to 5 layers of depth of level of thinking, right from wrong, and then we give them a mantra like be great, make difficult choices. That is all that is our job. They will, then their experiences of the outside world will put them in the direction or the path in which they were born to take. And they will follow the path with the 5 layers of right and wrong, and they will strive to be what the parents set for them as the high jump bar, the pole vault bar. Be great. Okay, I have to be in the eyes of my parent. Make difficult choice, I have to choose in the eyes of my parent. That mantra for us, we know the child's, whatever the child's made of, then that mantra will come to us when we're deeply spiritually invested in the well-being of that child.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank
So,
you. Very
Thank
kind of you. So well said. Dr. Priya ji, that माता पिता के बाद गुरु लोगों का जगह आता है ना? बोलते हैं कि माता पिता भी खड़े हैं, गुरु खड़े हैं. So
Bilkul.
Renu is my student from 1994 batch. So
Wow.
I feel so proud of her that today she is so responsible. She's taking
Thank you.
care of everything. She's becoming spiritually strong. She's in Saudi Arabia, bringing proud to India. So I would say I
I
feel so
salute you,
touched and so
Renuji.
happy.
I
And
nahi, thank you so much. Need your
that's why
blessings and wishes.
that's why I gave her the liberty. You can come anytime between 9:15 a.m. to 9:15 p.m. So with these
Wonderful.
words, I convey my deep gratitude and thanks to Dr. Priya V Balakrishnan,
Thank you. Thank you,
Professor Vivek
Sharma
Shankar
ji.
Natarajan
You're
ji.
our guru. Thank you. We
No.
appreciate you so
Thank you,
much.
Parashra, also. I'm so
Thank
grateful, ma'am. And
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Renu ji.
In fact,
Thank you, Vivek ji.
actually, Professor Vivek Shankar Natarajan is becoming my guru also, because he is spotting, because he has understood now what kind of resource and source and shroth people have to be requested to come, so that we can empower and we can strengthen the entire education ecosystem of India. With these words, my deep regards, gratitude, thanks, and
Thank
stay
you.
blessed. Stay blessed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Gulshan ji.